Yeah.
Because an old-fashioned sounds gentlemanly, and a Manhattan sounds like I want it to come with a dildo to stir it with. My first wife, who is a whore, by the way, where do you think I met her? A bar. Welcome in to the Bro Force Squad podcast. This is episode 73, and we're just a bunch of bros drinking beer and talking movies. I am your host, Jeff Hornacek. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. Very special episode tonight. But before we can get into that, we have to meet the fellow bros who are joining me. And first, we head into the lab to the mad scientist, Brian Banner. Banner, I know this Easter you had another run-in with your local HOA regarding you hiding Easter eggs that they claimed, quote, no child could get access to, end quote. These violations, per the email I got, include one inside a bear trap, the other in a ring of fire, and a third that they just said necessitated hand-to-hand combat with a rabid possum. Can we get your side of the story here?
First off, there were nothing in the bylaws that say that I couldn't hide my eggs there. And,
so the Air Bud defense.
Right. And second off, I would just like to say nobody got hurt. And third off, the other parents aren't raising their kids right if they can't, if their kids can't fight a possum. I mean, I'm just saying that's a general skill that most children should have.
I think you get your parenting from Incredibles 2.
And fourth of all, you've been drinking.
Have you? You're only on Skype, but I can smell whiskey on your breath.
Fifth of all, when am I not drinking?
Has anyone ever gotten to a fifth of all?
We just did.
We just broke ground.
That sounds like an insufferable person. And fifth of all, sir,
we're going to stop you right there.
This is a Wendy's. Next, we go to the American hero, Nate Thurmond. Nate, I know you're a semi-professional camper. If I plan on being in the woods for an extended period of time and I want to ward off bears and wolves, is there anything I can spray myself with or bathe myself in to achieve that effect?
So I've never had any wolves or bears attack me. So I don't know if this does work, but I can attest to what I'm usually covered in while I'm out in the woods. It may fend them off. I'm not sure, but usually a mixture of Coors Light, some Fireball, bug spray, and hooker spit. So I can't say for sure that it does fend them off, but I've never been attacked.
If bears are anything like college sorority girls, the Fireball will only attract them.
I'm guessing they're not because they tend to stay away, it looks like.
Classic.
I think that's the hooker spit, though.
Probably.
So did you bottle that up, or are they out in the woods with you, these guys? Like what?
Yeah, I have a little bit on reserve from time to time. And to Banner's point, I don't think bears like paying for sex. So if they do smell a hooker, I think they will stay away.
They
bears
like to earn it.
Yeah. They don't like to feel cheap.
God, we have bears pegged to a T.
We have
All right,
gone
well, if you
off
have not,
the rails already.
Do we ever start on the rails, though? Let's
No.
let people know if we've ever accidentally gotten onto the rails. They'd be concerned.
Yeah.
My mom listens to this pod. She's like, yeah, his whole life fucking been off the rails. If you've not listened to our show before, or even if you have, we start every episode off with the most important thing in any bro's life, and that is chest day. Our chest day topic today, before the summer movie season hits, officially Avengers Endgame is dropping this week. I'm just going to call that the opening toll or the opening bell of the summer movie season. We have to acknowledge what comes before it. In this past week, Hellboy was released in theaters, a remake that has been polarizing among fans, and it got our juices flowing on what are the top 3 movie remakes or reboots that we've ever seen, as Hollywood sometimes just can't seem to stay away from some of these classic IPs. So we all took the liberty of putting together one of our patented top 3 lists per Banner's suggestion, and I figured here would be a great time to count it down with you guys. So how about this? We'll each do our number 3 first, and so on, to build the suspense and get that chub really going for our listeners to what our number 1 is. And then, Banner, how about we do like our honorable mentions at the end and just say like the ones that just missed the cut?
Yeah, I like that.
All right, Banner, we'll go to you first, and we'll just do a little round robin.
All right, so we're doing third, which that would be our.
And sorry, before we start, real quick, Nate, I want to get your opinion on this too. Do we have any delineation between a quote remake and a reboot? Nate, what do you think?
So yeah, we kind of talked about this off pod, and I think the remake is just a straight, hey, here was an old movie, here's a new version of that movie. The reboot is kind of like a revitalization of a previous series or a previous movie. So my top three actually has a little mix of both, because when I hear reboot and remake, I kind of delineate that one is different from the other.
That's a good point. I guess a remake is like not necessarily like a shot for shot version of the movie, but it's pretty much in line. Whereas a reboot could be like a franchise or an old movie that they're bringing back, but there's definitely like a new spin on it.
Exactly.
I think a good example of what a reboot would be the difference in Jurassic Park and those three movies to the two Jurassic World movies. They still may connect.
Yeah.
It's
tougher when characters have come back, a la Jeff Goldblum, as brief as his appearance may be. But I get what you're saying, because it is like reintroducing this franchise
to a new generation.
Right. So when there's a gap, a certain amount of time, and maybe this will come up again, spoiler alert, on our countdown, then that's a fair one that we can throw into both. So, all right, Banner, back to you. Your number 3 remake or reboot of all time.
So I guess this is both. The Star Trek franchise that was rebooted in, was that 2008, 2009 with Chris Pine? That's my number 3. I thought they did a fantastic job, especially because none of us are huge Trek fans on this pod, but we've all seen the old ones. We've all seen the new ones, and I think that Trek fans are the most...
Trekkies, I believe, is what they prefer to be called.
Okay, excuse me. The Trekkies they're the most passionate about why their movies are so good or their show is so good, and I think that they did a fantastic job with the 3 that they did. More specifically, the first 2, Into the Darkness, being a remake of Wrath of Khan, and then the first.
Dude, I love that movie, and some people fucking hate it. That is like a top 50 movie of all time for me.
It's a great movie. I think that everybody did a really, really good job, and I think they did a good job of making it different from the old ones, from the 70s, 80s, 60s, whatever the fuck it was, but still paying homage to that. So I'm going.
Cumberbatch is awesome in that movie.
He's incredible in everything that he's in, though.
True.
But yes, I agree. He is absolutely fantastic in it. And again, we talked about this too. What makes a great villain is that you empathize with them. You see where they're coming from. I honestly almost wanted him to win in that movie because
he's the hero.
Yeah, you understand where he's coming from. So that's my answer. My number 3 is the Star Trek franchise. More specifically, the Wrath of Khan or Into the Darkness. I'm pretty sure Into the Darkness is what that one was called.
I'll briefly just add to that because I'm the same as you. I had that as an honorable mention on my list. And the main reason is I grew up a Star Wars guy. I didn't have anything against Star Trek. I just didn't get into it. And the reboot in 2009 with Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto and Zoe Saldana, I loved, and that got me interested in Star Trek as a franchise. And I saw all 3 of those movies in theaters. So that's what they were going for. And of course, having J.J. Abrams attached didn't hurt. But mission accomplished there. Nate, what do you got?
For my number 3, it's actually, I feel like every time I'm on the pod, I've mentioned this movie. It's 3:10 to Yuma. Check out
our movie commentary.
Yeah, check out the movie commentary for that.
Just check out our movie commentary.
Banner,
we already said that.
Can you just come on, please?
Sorry.
You don't get to edit that out. You have to leave that in, and shame on you.
Yes.
I think that's shame. You think I would have edited it out?
Shame. Anyways, 3:10, and I'll be completely honest, I haven't seen the original, but as much as I love,
don't need to.
As much as I love the new one, Christian Bale, I don't think I need to see the original. But I feel like I mentioned this way too much on the pod. But yeah, that's one of my favorite westerns, and obviously one of my favorite modern westerns. But they did a great job of that. And now that I've said this, I will need to go back and watch the original now. So I'm glad it's getting out in the open. So I'll obviously force myself to do this.
You're gonna be held accountable.
Yeah.
I think And obviously, like with movies like that where the original's way older, if you watch the remake and you're like, that's the quintessential version of this movie, that's kind of like the point of this, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the one that I look at. When you say, have you seen 3:10 to Yuma? I'm not fucking talking about the old one. I'm talking about the Christian Bale one and Russell Crowe. Also, Ben Foster. I once saw him in the park on his cell phone screaming at someone.
Honestly, as much pub as Russell Crowe and Christian Bale get, God, Ben Foster did a fucking fantastic job in that movie of playing that role. I can't imagine anyone else playing that role better.
And who doubted that he didn't actually like live in the woods for 8 years to like method act for that role?
And that's how he did it.
Exactly. My number 3 is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003. I still think pound for pound, this is the one with Jessica Biel. This is, what was that noise?
I had something in my throat.
It was either that or my foot moving on the chair. It sounded like a fart.
No, it was a boner noise.
Okay, it was my dick rubbing on the chair.
Fine. Are you happy now that you got that out of me?
I don't have pants on.
This movie is pound for pound like a top 5 scariest movie of all time. And when I say top 5 scariest movie of all time, I don't have the list in front of me. Strangers is number 1, and this is somewhere around 4 or 5. Okay, it is scary as fuck. It is so visceral. The guy who plays the football coach from Saving Silverman, he's also in Full Metal Jacket, I think. He's passed away, but he's creepy as hell in this movie too. And the original series, ended up getting a little campy towards the end. Like Matthew McConaughey's first movie was like the 5th one or something. And Leatherface, yeah, Leatherface became kind of like a joke. But this one is harrowing. Like this family of cannibals in like way southwestern Texas, who this dude obviously is like 6'6". He would be like a quintessential NFL tight end. And yeah, exactly. And they fucking lure this group of teenagers it sounds cliche, but like watch it, it's perfectly executed, whose car breaks down into their house by posing as police officers. And the rest is history. I mean, it's an incredibly slow burn and is just visceral and scary as hell. And Jessica Biel.
Yeah, I wish I could comment more on this, but as both of you are well aware, I hate scary movies. The last one I saw was actually Strangers, which freaked me the fuck out. And I can't put myself through that. I don't want to sit through a movie and piss my pants the whole time.
Yeah, some people want that reaction to be elicited. I'm with you. Like I enjoy the tension of scary movies, but it's not fun for me to be like shitting and pissing in my pants the whole time. I
don't care if that makes me a pussy. I do not like scary movies. I do not like them at all.
But also don't feel at all like, oh, The Strangers scared me, I must be a little bitch. Because a lot of people I've talked to, Ronnie Cycle included, who's a huge horror fan, that is like the scariest movie he's ever seen.
The difference between that and like a Nightmare on Elm Street or something like that is The Strangers and even the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Those could be real. Like those could actually happen in real life. Like Nightmare on Elm Street, like okay, it's probably not going to happen. Friday the 13th, dude's dead and comes back to life. Probably never going to happen. I don't know. Maybe it will. But like The Strangers and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, those things can happen. And that's they're so real. That's what makes them scary to me.
Yeah. And not to get off the rails too much, but the new Jordan Peele movie that's coming out,
Us. Check out our movie review that's like.
Yeah. So I love Get Out, but just seeing the trailer for Us. That's borderline too freaky for me.
So I convinced my fiance to go to it because Cycly swore to her that it wasn't that scary, and about an hour in, she just said, "What the fuck, Cycly?" in the middle of the theater, and we both started texting him like, "Dude, what are you talking about?"
What an asshole!
This is horrific.
Okay,
all right, let's do a boomerang order. Thurman, what is your number 2 best remake / reboot of all time?
So I know I may get some kickback here from Geiger, but True Grit.
Here we go. Western motif so far.
Yeah, there's a pattern here. The Jeff Bridges, Matt Damon remake of the late aughts, middle aughts, something like that. Now, to its credit, I love the original too. I think they were both great films, but I think as far as just remakes, They did a really good job, and this holds up to the original because it was so highly revered, which is funny because a point about John Wayne, my father-in-law is not a huge fan of John Wayne, and the reason is he doesn't think he's a good actor because he just thinks that's who he is, and he's not really acting.
Ooh, okay.
Wow.
So it's kind of a hot.
That's
hot
an
thing here.
interesting take.
So
Yeah.
like some families don't talk about politics, some families don't talk like sports. In your family, you guys don't talk about John Wayne's acting ability at like holiday events.
Thurman's like, I walked out of Thanksgiving dinner when he fucking said that John Wayne wasn't a good actor.
Yeah, I found a knife in my meatloaf. It was kind of weird. I didn't know what was going on.
Actually, that's normal if my
Yeah.
ex-wife is cooking. That's totally.
But yeah, True Grit kind of revamped Jeff Bridges as an actor. Steinfeld, what was her name?
Haley Steinfeld.
Haley
Yeah.
Steinfeld had a great start in that. I mean, Matt Damon was really great in it too. He played a kind of quirky character, but I really liked him. But yeah, overall, True Grit, really great Western remake.
I know he's going to be screaming at his
Oh, I know.
phone right now listening to this, but the question I was wondering, and since Geiger can't answer it, this is perfect, but what, and not to delegitimize it, but what is it that he doesn't like about the remake? Do we
That
know?
I don't know.
Is it just that he hates Matt Damon?
Yeah, I
They
was
have
gonna say I honestly think
Yeah.
it's that Matt Damon is in it.
I can get over that part. I mean, I don't hate Matt Damon, so.
Yeah, I have no quarrel with him.
No.
All right, Banner, your number 2 remake or reboot of all time.
All right. So this one, Murder on Orient Express.
Oh, okay.
Guys,
Check out our movie review of that, which you start off by going, choo, choo.
choo choo. Forgot about that. Guys, this movie is really, really, really good. It is based on a book. Haven't read the book, but I believe it was 1960 was the original. And when this one came out last year in 2018, right? 2018? Yeah, it was 2018. About November 2018. Might have been 17. I don't know. Recently it came out. Me and the wife went back and watched the original 1961. It is really good as well, especially for a lot of times movies that came out in the 50s and 60s when it's still black and white, or even color movies are very, very new. They show their date and they show their age a lot. This movie did not. Like, I would have watched that original if it came out today. And then Kenneth Branagh and that incredible cast that
Such
came
a
in.
good cast, dude.
Such a good cast, and they all knew their role. They really embodied the people that they were, their characters, which was really, really cool. That scene when they're in the cave and basically he comes out and says, "I know who
Don't
did it."
spoil it. Okay.
That was, yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it, but you guys need to go watch it. That was probably the best scene that I've seen in a movie in a long time. Very, very good. If you guys haven't seen it, go check out Murder on Orient Express.
So, Banner, since you have seen both the original and the new one, would you classify the Kenneth Branagh one as a remake or a reboot? Like, is it dissimilar enough from the original one?
No, it's dissimilar in a couple of ways, but I would definitely say it is a remake. It is not so far away that you wouldn't know that it was based on it or anything like that. Like, it is very clearly the same story.
And I actually think the sequel to both of the Agatha Christie novel and I don't know if they made a movie of Murder on the Nile, but that comes out, I believe, this year.
Yeah, I don't think they made a sequel back off of the original. I may be wrong, but it's either this year or next year, Murder on the Nile.
That's a good one. My number 2 is the Gareth Edwards directed Godzilla in 2014.
It's a good one.
First off, Gareth Edwards, I love him, man. He did Rogue One, which I absolutely love. Check out our movie commentary and review of that. And this Godzilla movie was a different take, man. We got less Godzilla than probably any iteration of, can I call him a character? I don't really know if he...
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, he's a character.
Yeah.
He's at home like growling and lizard, like I better fucking be considered a character. But we got less Godzilla and like more character drama and like a family story that you could actually buy into. It was like a real movie, which is kind of crazy to do with Godzilla.
It's not a monster
CGI
flick.
It's really not, but it works. Like, the CGI is incredible. The only weird thing about it, not his fault, but this was the same year as Avengers: Age of Ultron, and Elizabeth Olsen and Aaron Taylor Johnson in his movie play husband and wife, and they make out a couple times. And then in Avengers: Age of Ultron, a few months later, they're brother and sister, and they don't make out at all. So that's just kind of weird to go back and look at now in his movie, because obviously I've seen Age of Ultron more.
Yeah, it's weird that the brother and sister don't make out.
Huh? I meant the other way.
One more time.
What?
Huh?
Are we after Big Fudge? Anyway, Godzilla, if you haven't seen it, and of course it ties into King Kong, which came out, or Kong Skull Island, excuse me, and this Godzilla King of Monsters, and my second most anticipated movie of all time coming out next year, Godzilla vs. King Kong, which I cannot fucking.
Oh.
All right, Banner. What is your number one remake or rebooted movie of all time?
So, I guess technically, this is a reboot
Don't do
of
this
a
on
franchise.
number one.
No, it's a reboot of the franchise. It's the new Rise Planet of the Apes franchise. Starting with Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of Planet of the Apes, War of Planet of the Apes. It rebooted the Planet of the Apes franchise. In the 70s, they made like 7 of them? Something stupid
Yeah, and
like
they
that.
got really
so
ridiculous.
just out there and crazy and bad. But this trilogy is so grounded. You see kind of Patient Zero and where it all started, how it all started. And each movie, and I know Geiger's a big fan of this trilogy as well, each movie starts to get a little darker and a little darker and a little darker. And again, you don't know who the good guys and who the bad guys are. Like, you kind of empathize with both sides at times. Absolutely fantastic. When I was going through and we kind of posed this question, top 3 remakes, reboots, this isn't one that necessarily came to mind immediately, but the more I stewed on it, the more I
Stowed would be like you snuck on a passenger liner.
Okay, so the more I stowed on it, the more I steamed on it, whatever, the more I was like, yeah, this has to be a number one, because it's a franchise that made multiple movies versus a franchise that made multiple movies, and pound for pound, the new franchise is way better.
The new ones avoided, I think this was one of the problems, especially with rewatching like the Charlton Heston ones. They're very heavily reliant on a time travel component.
Yes.
And the Mark Wahlberg one did that too, which we were wondering if that would ever connect to these. It doesn't, I believe, right?
Not yet, but it's Hollywood, so I'm not ruling it out. And it's also Mark Wahlberg, so I'm not ruling it out.
Yeah, I think that's what helps ground these. And obviously Matt Reeves did the last one, which had us all excited for the Batman. Maybe I'm still excited for what I need to sleep on it. That's a great one, because I think I've legitimately enjoyed all 3 of those movies a lot. So there's not even like a downturn in the new franchise.
No, I think they got better and stronger as they went. And James Franco showed he can really act. I mean, he's got some really silly, funny movies out there, but this is a serious role that he just absolutely crushed in the first one.
Yep. All right, Nate, what is your number one remake or reboot of all time?
So this is going along the same lines of what Banner was saying. This is a more recent reboot. I think everyone can agree, especially everyone in our age group, that this was much needed. But it's the Batman reboot that started in 2005 with Batman Begins and went to The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. So growing up in the 90s, we started off with Batman, and we got some good movies throughout the 90s, grew up on those. One of my favorites growing up was Batman Returns with Danny DeVito and Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
And I've been very vocal on the pod. The first boner I ever got was Batman Forever, Dr. Chase Meridian.
Absolutely. And so we got some good ones there in the 90s, and then in 97 they kind of shit the boat and came out with Batman and Robin, which kind of got the whole franchise off track. So once we got Batman Begins in 2005, that really revamped it and then led to one of the best acting performances ever in Dark Knight and The Dark Knight by Heath Ledger.
What's wrong with Batman and Robin?
Not our movie commentary, that's for sure.
Yeah, our second ever movie commentary. Go check it out.
We're gonna have to do another pod if we want to go through all that.
Isn't that the truth?
That was a pre-fat Val Kilmer.
God, that's right. He did get really big, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Has he lost weight now? I don't know.
You know, I feel bad because I think he had like a serious disease. I don't want to say cancer, but he had something.
Well, went ahead and stepped in that bear trap. Got cancer.
Geiger's at home. What, did he eat the disease? Fucking asshole.
Damn.
That's level I can say that and blame it on him for no reason.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any debate about the great trilogy from '05 to 2012 that came out with the new Batman releases. So in my overall opinion, from what we saw in the '90s and what I grew up on in those great movies with Keaton and Val Kilmer, and then the mishap of Batman and Robin going into the great ones in the aughts, that would be my number one reboot.
Nobody's gonna argue with that.
Mm-mm.
Ever been a bigger 180 than Batman and Robin to Batman? I mean, that's like an insane for the same IP. Like that's absolutely nuts how those two different takes can be had back to back.
Exactly.
And The Dark Knight is, I still think, my favorite movie of all time.
Oh yeah, so well done. And like I said, probably, I mean, in my opinion, probably one of the best acting performances of anyone ever.
Yep.
Fight me.
Maggie Gyllenhaal's great. That's what you're talking about, right?
Wait, I think you missed my point.
Sorry, Lau. That's what you meant, Lau.
Yes,
Very good.
Lau. Very good at calculations.
What do you got?
All right, my number one remake or reboot of all time. Check out our movie commentary on this. Is Ocean's 11, directed by Steven Soderbergh in 2001. Now I know everybody at home was like, "Oh, come on, man! The original's fucking great with Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr." Geiger went back and rewatched it, and I trust his opinion very much so about a few years ago, and he said does not hold up. It's tough to watch. And the 2001, now it might be an okay movie, but the 2001 film, cast alone dwarfs this thing. Matt Damon, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, all in their prime. Andy Garcia is incredible. Julia Roberts, of course. And Casey Affleck and Dennis Hopper's kid, I can't remember his name, their on-screen chemistry is like worth tuning into all three of the Ocean's movies alone. As the two brothers that are just constantly fucking fighting. They're incredible. And Banner, you know this. What is my favorite type of movie by far?
It's a heist movie. I mean, there's nothing better. There's nothing better out there.
And this, to me, is like the blueprint or the template for the perfect heist movie.
You never pull a job in a job.
Exactly. The job gets too personal. A heist movie depends on great pacing and a tremendous finale. I don't mean like a third act. I mean like a last 10 minutes. And Ocean's 11 knocks both of those two out of the park. I mean, the last 5 minutes, there's a great twist in it. If you haven't seen it, I won't spoil it, but it's really, really good. Really well done.
They're all robots.
Nate.
Sorry, my bad.
You can kind of tell in the beginning as George Clooney like plugs himself into a wall and goes, beep, boop, beer.
It was a big tell.
Yeah, it was a big. I can't believe people didn't catch on, dumbasses. So Ocean's 11. Honorable mention, I only have one, and it is The Longest Yard from 2005. Not a great movie, but
it's fun.
The kind of the end of Adam Sandler being watchable and entertaining. And I love how they casted so many celebrities, like wrestlers and ex-football players who were really bad actors to play like security guards and the prisoners, because I just think it makes the movie that much funnier. Like Nelly is the running back. That's great.
Michael Irvin was in that, right?
Yeah, he's the guy in the prison yard who keeps headbutting Adam Sandler when they try to play one-on-one. Yeah. Finish this fight!
Finish this fight!
Banner, any honorable mentions for you?
I went back and forth. This is easily my fourth one, and I went back and forth. It was almost my third pick. Disturbia, the reboot or remake. This is a I would say this is a remake of Rear Window. Maybe a reboot.
Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Reimagined movie, maybe?
It's just like a modern take on what that would look like.
Yeah, it was absolutely well done. This is like that very, very short window where Shia LaBeouf was not on Even Stevens before he went batshit fucking crazy. Like right around the time that he did the first Transformers movie. This is such a good movie. If you guys haven't seen it, you guys need to check it out. Very, very well done. Very, very good take on what Rear Window and what Alfred Hitchcock was trying to do in his movie. So very, very good. Again, well acted, I guess well cast. I don't know. There's only like 4 or 5 people in it, but
Yeah, Carrie-Anne Moss, Trinity from the Matrix movies, is his mom. She's really good in it.
yeah, she's hot too.
Okay. She's a person. She's up here. Nate, any honorable mentions? We took some of the really juicy ones.
Next question.
Oh, God.
Okay.
It's too soon.
Yeah, you can't do that to us. Here, I'll throw another couple out there. Beauty and the Beast.
No.
It
Check
was,
out our movie review.
It was fine. I liked it.
Guess. I mean, it shouldn't be even mentioned, though.
Okay. I had another one on here, Mowgli, Andy Serkis. It's on Netflix. He directed it.
So are you a Mowgli guy over Favreau's Jungle Book?
Yes, 100%.
Wow, 100%.
100%.
There it is.
Nobody has drank as many beers as I have, like, ever.
Is he drunk? It's nice, isn't it? So Mowgli is one I have not checked out. I saw Favreau's, but I've heard nothing but good things. Like you said, it is a darker take, right?
It's a little bit darker take, and it's just different. And I really like it. It's a different take on the Jungle Book ideas, and it's just a different take on the Jungle Book. I've never actually read the Jungle Book, but I've seen the cartoon. I saw Favreau's, and now I've seen Mowgli, and I like Mowgli the best.
Which one has Scarlett Johansson as Kaa versus which one has Kate Blanchett as Kaa?
Scarlett Johansson, I believe, is in Favreau's.
Of course.
Good choice.
Yeah. What would you expect?
Would. All right. Those are our top 3 remakes or reboots of all time. And that brings us to the second part of our show, which is our protein shake, where we go around the triangle and talk about what is in our cup, also known as what have we watched lately. Just to figure out the best way to do this, Banner, how many things do you have?
I'm super light this week. I've got I actually only have one thing.
Wow. Nate, how about you?
I've got 2, technically 3. One's kind of off the cuff, but we'll roll with it.
Love it. I got 2 also. Nate, why don't you go first?
Okay, so I'll start off with went back, I think last week, week before, watched Idiocracy, which is like
what a callback.
Guilty pleasure. I don't even there's a radio show I listen to here locally, and they'll mention it every once in a while as like they have like a little cult following for it. So it's always kind of top of mind. So I was like, Miss Thurman needs to watch this, which she fell asleep like halfway through and didn't see the whole.
She still needs to finish it, right?
She still needs to finish it, but it's so stupid and so funny. You can just sit there and laugh at it. It's a kind of a view of a not post-apocalyptic, but a futuristic America, what we could turn into if we keep this dumbing down of a nation that some people have envisioned us in. There's some cool aspects of it, like you pay for everything with like your scanner tattoo, but it's hilarious. You got Dak Shepard in it, Luke Wilson.
Luke Wilson's the lead, right?
Terry Crews is in it. Maya Rudolph.
I've actually never seen the movie, but the point is Luke Wilson is like of average intelligence, but he's by far the smartest person in the world, right? Or in the country. Yeah,
so for people who haven't seen it, just a little synopsis to run through. Yeah, Luke Wilson is in the Army, and they want to do a test on him. He's the most average human that they can find. And they take him and Maya Rudolph, who is a prostitute, and they freeze them. They're supposed to wake them up in like a year. It goes 500 years. And after that, whenever they actually wake up and get out of their capsules, they are the smartest human beings on Earth.
Isn't Terry Crews the president?
Terry Crews is the president.
Okay, that's right. I remember now.
And they
what causes them to not, or is that a spoiler, to not be woken up for 500 years?
It's something like the government program gets shut down or something, or yeah, like the leader of it gets busted and goes to jail and they forget about him. It's stupid, obviously. But so yeah, they're the smartest people. They're watering their crops with their equivalent of basically Gatorade because they think it's better than water. But Terry Crews is the president. It's hilarious. It's a good one just to stop down on, watch, and not have to think about. But it's a funny reflection on life.
So do they explain why people became so stupid, or was it just like progressively it happened, or was there like one event that caused everyone?
No, it wasn't one event. It was just progressively everyone got stupider and stupider, and it kind of led to this. And so now there's a huge pileup of garbage and all this other stuff, and they appoint
Luke
Luke
Wilson
Wilson.
has to like solve their problems.
Yeah, he's supposed to solve the world's issues, and like he gives them a deadline of like a week because I think he's like literally the smartest person ever.
And isn't he like
So-
he's like a pizza delivery boy? No, that's Futurama. Kind of.
No, he's in the army.
That's right.
But he has a very low level position. But
Okay.
really great watch if you haven't seen it. It's really really funny and just a stupid comedy you can sit down and laugh at. The other one I watched recently, which I've been trying to go back and watch movies that came out in the past 10 or so years that I may have missed. Sicario, which was amazing.
yeah.
I can't believe I haven't seen it yet with Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro and Emily Blunt. So obviously there's a mission behind the actual mission that they kind of propose in the beginning of it, which is Benicio del Toro's kind of ulterior motive that gets revealed at the end. Not to give any spoilers if someone else out there has been living under a rock like me and hasn't seen it. There's like 4 great actors in that movie that like bring their great acting chops, and it starts off great, and it held my attention all the way through. It had a lot of action in it, but it still had a good plot to keep my attention as well.
So I don't know who it was. I think it was Brent Barry, friend of the pod. Check out our Dunkirk movie commentary that he's on. But he complained that Emily Blunt's character was like annoying throughout the film. I also, looking at this cast list, I forgot John Bernthal and Daniel Kaluuya are in this.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know Daniel Kaluuya was in it.
Daniel Kaluuya's character is named Reggie Wayne, like the former Colts wide receiver, which is kind of funny.
Solid.
And also Banner Maximilio Hernandez, who plays Agent Jasper Sitwell in the Marvel Universe, is in this film. But Nate, what was your take on Emily Blunt's character? Because obviously someone else in one of our text threads had a different opinion on her, kind of her role, especially with all these alphas. She is an alpha in and of herself, I think, but in a different
Yeah,
way.
she's definitely come into her own recently. I could see where someone may get off as her character being whiny or her acting as whiny, just because the situation she's put in, she's not really given a lot of information. She kind of has to piece it together herself. She's kind of bitching the whole time because at the end of the day, they're just using her for her, basically her clearance, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, her connections.
Yeah, her connection, because she was CIA or whatever department was, they needed her to go over international borders. So I could see where you would get that, but overall, I think she played the role well, and I think she just did a great job of portraying what she needed to portray in the film. I didn't think it came off as whiny or any of that.
Okay, so Denis Villeneuve, who directed Sicario, look at these 3 movies back to back that he did. He did Prisoners in 2013, which is fucking incredible. He did Sicario in 2015, and then somehow he also popped out Arrival the next year in 2016.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Damn,
Leave some
Busy.
pussy for the rest of us.
that's solid.
Nate,
And then-
last question, sorry. Do you have any desire to see the sequel to Sicario that came out last year? Or are you
So-
like, you know what, I'm good, that wet my palate?
at this point, I'm kind of good. I might watch it down the road. It
We're
may have been
such
me.
different people. If
Well,
if I know there's more than one, I cannot. But like, here's the thing: Emperor's New Groove. Found out Kronk's New Groove is the thing. Had to watch it. I couldn't stop myself.
I'm just not a huge sequel guy. Maybe that's kind of an issue with me. There's a ton of sequels out there that I've not seen. And I think it may have been one of you two that did not boast the sequel for Sicario up too much. And so I'm not too enthused about it.
Yeah, it's just a way. I watched it in like 2 sittings, so maybe that like fucked up my viewing of it, but it's just a way different movie. Like,
Yeah, I might go at it.
Brolin and Del Toro come back, but
And actually, I know Del Toro and Emily Blunt really talked about it for that movie. Josh Brolin, I loved his character. He was just like free and easy. He like knew what he was doing, but he was kind of the cocky asshole that was kind of joking the whole time in like serious situations. I really dug that too.
he was just the best way I can describe him in Sicario is just so fucking cool.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be
That's
that
the
guy.
best way.
Like calm and cool in any situation.
No, god damn it.
So the third thing, so I haven't been watching much. I've been traveling around a little bit, but one of my pleasures in life, which both of you know, and I'm going a little off cuff, and this isn't usually what is mentioned on here, but since history is being made right now, I'm going to bring up Jeopardy. So I try and watch Jeopardy every day, and I've started recording it so I can make sure and not miss it because there's a guy on what?
You're disgusting for recording Jeopardy.
I'm disgusting. Big things are happening right now.
Yeah, seriously. Culture yourself, you swine.
So James Holzhauer is on there right now. He's won 14 days in a row. He's won $1.4 million already.
What was Jennings' record? Ken Jennings?
Jennings' record is, I don't know, it's like 72 or 74 days in a row, and he won 2.5. So this guy.
How did he only win 2.5 with that many days? He's almost
because
double.
This guy's insane. He'll like find the daily doubles early. He'll double down, and he just gets. He's averaging like 60K a day.
Some of the Snapchats you sent me, it is a fucking bloodbath. Like it'll be early in the game, and the other two contestants combined don't even have like half of his money.
Was it like Calvin and Karen the other day or something? Literally,
Claudia and Kevin.
Yeah, they had like 1,700 between the two of them, and he had like 22,000.
He should get cocky and tell Trebek he wants to play the other two combined versus him.
He set the single day record 4 times. So he beat it, and then he beat it 3 more times. And I think his record right now is he's won 118,000 in one day.
This is Trebek's last.
What?
Jesus.
Yes.
So, because I'm not that good at math, let's just say hypothetically you were to get, this is impossible, but you were to get every question, right? What do they have? 6 categories in 2 rounds, each with 6 questions or 5? 5, right?
5, yeah.
So if you were to get every one, do we know how much money that would be? No one here is that great at math.
Do I want to say I'm nerdy enough that I did the math earlier this week?
Well, I need to know.
Yeah, if you know it, you need to say it.
So I know it roughly. So in like the first round of Jeopardy, it's like 36K, and then Double Jeopardy, it's like 50 something K.
So total would be like 90. All of those, and then wager like half of that in Final Jeopardy.
So the biggest thing with him is that he will be up so much that he'll be able to wager. So he'll be like at 60K, and he can wager 50K because the next people are like 5. And so even if he loses 50, he'll still beat the next people if they double up.
God damn it.
It's insane. But that's my little.
This is Trebek's last season, right? Like he's off the show, or he's done with the show after this, right? Because he has cancer or something, right? Or did I make all of that up?
No,
he does have cancer.
And it's late stages, but I think everyone's kind of hoping he can obviously be there.
He's going to try and stick it out as long as he can, as long as it's not detrimental to his performance on the show.
Gotcha.
That's great, Nate. We need shit like that.
Just a little randomness.
All right, Banner, what do you got?
All right, guys. So, as you guys know, little movie called Endgame is coming out. So I've kind of tried to go media silent. Haven't been on social media in a while. Not really watching movies. Not really watching TV. Just trying to stay completely blind. I want to go into this with a real fresh mind. So I actually only watched one thing between last episode and today, and that was World War Z.
Great movie.
Absolutely fantastic movie.
Don't know if we'll ever get the sequel.
We won't. It's basically in development hell. I was reading up on it.
Fincher jumped ship, I read.
Yeah, it sucks, but absolute fantastic movie. They actually wrote it to be a trilogy, which is unfortunate that we're not going to get the rest of it. Just a really cool take on the whole zombie apocalypse genre that we haven't really seen. We don't really get a whole lot on, where they're fast and just really good movie. If you guys haven't checked it out, go check it out. Pretty fucking scary as far as like zombie movies go. That's the only thing that I've watched. Been playing a few video games, and reading some comic books, reading some books. So just trying to keep my mind fresh and cleansed going into Endgame.
Yeah, that's kind of the difficult tasks now.
Very hard.
I don't know if you had done any research on the books, or have you read the books or any of them?
Which books?
World War Z?
No, I haven't read the books. No.
Okay, because I'm wondering where the first one left off. I heard that it actually combines like part of the second book.
That's what I read, but I don't know for sure.
Obviously, they can stretch. I mean, we've seen them do it with like The Hobbit, for example. They turn one book into 3 movies. So there's no saying they couldn't turn like one final book into 2 movies or more if they wanted. But I was kind of confused when I read that it was a trilogy of books, because when you watch the end of the movie, I mean, I'm like, this is a conclusion I'm okay with.
I was perfectly fine with the end of it, and I think that's part of the reason why it's in development hell right now, is because it is. We're not sitting here wanting more. Would I like more? Sure. I think it would be cool to see a continuation of this storyline, but I'm perfectly fine with where I ended it. They did a fine job.
Also, the Shia LaBeouf's cross the street neighbor in the previously mentioned Disturbia, he's in World War Z. He's like the crazy lunatic guy with fucked up teeth. By the way, horrible like makeup work on his teeth. Who tells Brad Pitt like how to fight the zombies. Apparently, he had like a way bigger role in the original cut of the film, and they just axed his ass out. Probably because Disturbia, he was weird. You got anything else, Banner? Or is that it?
No, that was it. That was all I got.
All right, so for my protein shake, I have 2 movies, and this is, mark the date down as we're recording this, April 24th, 2019, episode 73 of the Broforce Squad podcast, because this is the weirdest 2 movies for a protein shake that I will probably ever come up with. So the first one, I was on a flight back from New York City with the in-laws for Easter, and I was on Netflix, and I was doing some work on my laptop, and so I didn't get on Netflix till I only had like an hour, 45 minutes left on the flight. And I was like, what movie can I watch that I can finish before this plane lands? Because that's the goal. And I ended up with choosing The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor.
Ooh, okay, let's talk.
God damn it. Which is the 3rd iteration of the Brendan Fraser Mummy franchise, starring Jet Li as, of course, the Dragon Emperor. Now, I have a few notes here I want to go through very quickly, and anything this triggers in your mind, Banner, chime in. So, directed by Rob Cohen, director of the first Fast and Furious and Hurricane Heist, which I still really want us to do a commentary on. And I thought that this movie, maybe intentionally, had horrible CGI that I actually absolutely loved. It was basically just way too ambitious. Like, they had shit in the script that they could not pull off with CGI, but they were like, fuck it.
Yeah, they were like, okay, what we need is a $200 million budget to pull this off. And they're like, cool, you have $80 million.
I was just going to say,
we can make it work.
He's like, it's fine. We just won't get Rachel Weisz to come back.
Yeah.
Who also, Rachel Weisz doesn't come back. Probably a good choice. Jet Li's villain character's powers are so inconsistent and make no sense. It was awesome.
He can only do what he needs to do when it's convenient
Whatever
for the plot.
he needs to do in any given situation. It was like so fucking great. Like literally name what he needs to do here. Oh yeah, they would like add like, oh, he also has that power. Like an hour and a half in, I was like, well, this is fucking great.
It was almost like they were making fun of like villains that have powers, because they're like, oh, and he can do this, and he can do that, and he can do this. Oh, and we forgot to tell you about that. Did you read about that?
Like the equivalent of asking a 6-year-old, oh, if you want a superpower, what would it be? To do everything.
To do flying and magic and teleport. And then like he's out there fighting with his friends. Like, and also I can shoot water out my hands. So you can't just keep fucking adding shit to your character. You know what? It's fine. It's entertaining. All right, Luke Ford, who plays Brendan Fraser's son in the movie, is only 12 years younger than him in real life. But the issue is they look even closer than that in age in the film. He looks 4 years younger than him.
Yeah, Brendan Fraser I think looks good for his age in this movie, and his son looks bad for his age just in real life, let alone being his son. He's got to be in like supposedly in his mid-30s in The Mummy Returns, which is what, 15 years prior to this movie chronologically.
Something like that. But it was so weird because like Maria Bello, who plays Rachel Weisz's character from the previous films in this, both of them. But so there'd be scenes where she's like cozying up to her son, and I would forget that was her son. I was like, oh, these guys are totally gonna fuck. Oh shit, that's mother's son. Ugh. Because it's weird that they're so close in age. I was like, I'm uncomfortable.
In real life, they like legitimately are like of dating age, like you could see them dating each other, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they're each other's type. Is my only thing. Last one I had. The focal point of the story is actually. Then this is all these are pluses. Like I knew what I was getting into with this movie, and I had a blast with it. Check out our Letterboxd review. But the focal point of the story is Jet Li's character. Like he's the star of this whole movie, and which I thought was actually really cool. Like give us something different. Let's focus on the villain for once. Brendan Fraser's son falls in love with a woman who, like he inevitably risks his own life and several other people's lives for, and they legitimately, I think, say him and the woman 10 sentences to each other in the whole movie before this happens, which I thought was perfect. Like they clearly just want to fuck, but he's going to put everyone else's life at risk for her, which is great. That's true love. Banner, anything else you want to add to The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor?
No, I pretty sure I've said this on a past pod. That's one of my favorite trilogies. It is. All three of those movies are so much fun. This one came significant, maybe 8 years after Mummy Returns, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's not going to be good." I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. It checked all the boxes for me. We always say it doesn't have to be a good movie, but it has to be fun. This was fun.
Yeah. And spoiler alert, plug your ears or skip forward 30 seconds if you don't want to know a key plot point in The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor right now. But when the fucking Yetis show up and start fighting with them,
fucking awesome.
I was having a goddamn blast on this airplane. I was like, let's fucking circle the airport. I want to watch this shit again. Again, watch a movie and know what you're getting into, because this one was awesome. I only gave it a 1.5 stars on Letterboxd, not because I didn't enjoy it, just because it's not a good movie. And
you can't reward it for being a bad movie. You just have to accept it.
But I'd be totally down to do a commentary on the original Mummy trilogy.
Ooh, I could do all three of them right now. Let's go.
That's like 8 hours of movie. But yeah, Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. And then the last thing I watched was some Netflix trash. It's a movie called The Perfect Date.
Ooh, I almost plugged that in the other day.
Hey,
I saw the preview for this.
Yeah, Netflix is probably beating you over the fucking face with it. But this has that kid, Noah Centineo, who was from the other Netflix classic, All the Boys I've Loved Before, which your significant others are probably pestering you about, because mine was. It's kind of a color by numbers rom-com. The one thing I had an issue with, and I put this in our Letterboxd review too, it's funny, but two things, and this is like not just isolated to this movie, but everyone has done it wrong, and this movie just perpetuated it. But all the characters in the high school are like fucking supermodels. Like, where's the one ugly kid or the kid with acne who's like getting shoved in his locker that I can relate to? That doesn't happen. And then also all the characters in it, like the 3 or 4 main characters, are so overly quirky and like quick-witted that it's really fucking annoying. Like none of them are like awkward. They always have the perfect thing to say and they're fucking banter back. I'm like, dude, real high schoolers like say stupid shit and then like there's an awkward pause for 3 seconds and they run out of the room because they don't know what to say. And that did not happen in this movie. Having said that, it's short. There's some funny lines and actually really good music.
So this is the one about the app, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where he basically gets he needs to raise money to go to Yale, and so he gets this app where he can stand in on dates. Like if you want to make your ex-boyfriend jealous, he'll show up for a night.
Okay,
the problem is this guy who's also rumored to play He-Man in the Masters of the Universe remake. That's what a great segue, Horns. He comes off as like this quirky, awkward kid, and he's like a fucking, again, like a supermodel in real life. It's kind of weird. Like, we get it, you're endearing and relatable, but that doesn't mean you're not a 10. All right. Before we move on to our last segment, Banner, I think you had a question you wanted to ask, right?
No, I don't have it in me.
Thurman, you did this last?
Thurman, I need you to take over for me. What's your
question?
You did
this last episode too, and then you just butted in and did it. So I don't trust.
No, I really don't have. No, I really don't have it in me. I promise.
I'm not going to fall into this trap.
No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
Oh, you cut out. Do it. Oh, you're faking it. That brings us to the last part of our show, our question and answer segment. Do you even lift, bruh? Just waiting for Banner to interrupt me. Do it. And I guess he won't. All right. So our one question tonight comes to us from David Detweiler at DCW Detweiler. And this is one that I am really excited to talk about. So we're a third of the way through the movie, or a little bit more. And David asks, what do you think the biggest sleeper hit of the summer will be? I'm personally really excited for it yesterday. Now, I'm going to go first here because yesterday I am fucking all over the hype train.
Okay.
Ignore him. He'll stop.
No, I won't.
Don't look at him.
Yeah, don't make eye contact with the wild banner. It tends to gravitate towards that. So yesterday is a film I'm fucking jacked up for. Check out the trailer if you haven't. Quick synopsis of the movie, and don't write this off because it works. A struggling musician in England in present day, gets hit by a bus in a car accident, and something happens the same night where the power goes off all across the world. And he wakes up and realizes he's in a world where no one has ever heard of the Beatles. So he remembers all their famous songs. He starts performing them, telling people he wrote them. He becomes the most famous musician in the world. Things go from there. You get to see this guy, I think Hamish Patel is his name. Kate McKinnon's in it. Lily James, who's we've seen in a bunch of stuff, Baby Driver and Cinderella. The music is great, and it's directed by Danny Boyle, who also did Slumdog Millionaire, 28 Days Later, Trainspotting, The Beach. And I don't know if this is actually a good movie, but over the years we've convinced ourselves it is because all of our significant others love it. But the writer who wrote Love Actually wrote this film.
Huh.
So I'm all in on yesterday, but I'll real quick get to my pick for sleeper film, and it is Ford vs. Ferrari, which is directed by James Mangold, who did Logan and Thurman Get Your Boner Pants On, 310 to Yuma.
Whoop.
And this is the story of Ford versus Ferrari, Ford's effort to build a race-worthy car to rival and hopefully defeat the Ferrari team at the 1966 24 Hours of Le Mans race. And it stars two great actors we've already talked about today, Christian Bale and Matt Damon. Also has John Bernthal, comes out June 28th. Ford vs. Ferrari, the best movie you did not know was coming out this summer. Directed by James Mangold.
The best part about that was Thurman's boner noise. Whoop, whoop.
And then my actual boner I showed you.
Yeah, that was... We won't talk about that. Thurman, what do you got best sleeper film? Doesn't have to be this summer. Fuck it. Just this year.
So I was confused by this question. Does this mean the biggest film this summer that I'm going to sleep through?
You know what? If you took it that way, then please, what is that movie?
That's not how I took it. I just thought some people may interpret it that way, so I just wanted to get it out there.
I thought you were about to say the Dora Explorer movie.
For our audience.
That'll be a great snooze fest.
But real talk, Booksmart coming out, Olivia Wilde's directing debut.
Oh, woo! She's not on the screen.
Oh, she's not on the screen. But
enlighten me though.
It looks like there has been a little insider trading because her husband Jason Sudeikis is starring in the film. I'm not sure how big of a role he has. He's not one of the main two characters. I think he's a teacher in it. But it does have.
Teacher sounds fucking awesome.
I know. That would be fucking amazing if I had Jason Sudeikis as a teacher or principal or something in high school. Just a confidant that you can trust.
Do you have a plot for me? Or a rough
So it's kind of like a coming of age. There's two main characters in it. One of them is Beanie Feldstein from Lady Bird.
Oh, yeah.
Pronouncing the name wrong. And I don't know the other main character who's like her best friend. They're kind of nerdy girls in high school. And it's kind of them coming of age. And I believe it is like right before they go off to college. So a lot of pub for this getting bookmarked as the female version of Superbad, which I know everyone on this pod loves Superbad. There's kind of
a cock dick?
Like a cock dick, yes. Hopefully they have a line that says like pussy vagina. So we can look forward to that.
One of the best quotes, top 5 of all time on the pod. Great work. Looking at the cast here, sorry to interject. We have Billy Lord, Carrie Fisher's daughter. Will Forte is in it, and Lisa Kudrow, Phoebe from Friends.
Yeah. So I love Olivia Wilde and Jason Sudeikis and them together. I'd love to have a dinner party with them. That'd be fucking awesome.
If you're listening, guys, come over to the Thurmans. He cooks a great steak.
You know, I'll show you that reverse sear. It'll melt in your mouth. So come on over. But yeah, Booksmart. Once people started comparing it to like the lady version of Superbad, it had me all in, and then Olivia Wilde directing it. So there's a lot of pressure, obviously, on her coming out with this. But after watching the trailer, it looks like it's going to hold up. I think it's going to be a great movie this summer.
That is a great fucking pick. I'm all in on this thing. It comes out soon. I hope it gets a wide release, but May 24th is what I show the release date as.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Great work. Banner, what do you got?
I'll keep it short. I said this. Actually, my sleeper pick on our 2019 preview show was The Kid. Haven't seen it yet, but it's actually already come out. It's gotten kind of mixed reviews. So moving forward, I don't know if this is a sleeper pick or not, but it's one that I'm excited for, so I'm going to talk about it because if it's good, I look like a genius. If it's not good, I just look
We edited it
normal.
out.
Yeah. But Fallen Angel, which is the third one in the Olympus Has Fallen, London Has Fallen trilogy with Gerard Butler, Morgan Freeman.
How many times is this president going to keep getting fucking attempted to be killed?
So this one, actually, they frame Gerard Butler's character for killing the president. So it kind of is the opposite of what's happened in the last two.
But see, okay, I stopped you at this before. Why would he's already fucking saved the president's life 2 times? Why now would he decide he wants to kill him?
That right there is your hook. That's why you go to see it.
You're drawn in.
Damn it. You're right. That's dumb. Here's $20.
No, I enjoy those movies. I think they're entertaining, lots of action. So I'm kind of excited to see this. They make Gerard Butler way more of a badass than I think he actually is. So that's fun.
I actually like him too, and I'm sorry for my stupidity here, but it is the president that he's framed for killing Aaron Eckhart in this, or is this like a different
It might be
term?
like the Secretary of State. To be honest with you, I don't remember exactly. I just remember that I wanted to see it. He gets framed for killing somebody, like a high official.
The Pope.
Maybe.
Can't do it. The Pope Mobile's bulletproof. Everyone knows that.
Damn it.
The Pope
Sorry.
Mobile.
No, that's actually what it's called.
Yeah, I know. It's actually still funny.
It's a real thing and funny. It can be both.
Touche. Yeah. They can coexist. Get off. Don't at me. Great work there, fellas. And great question, David. We appreciate
Pope
that one.
Mobile. Whoop.
All right,
Thanks, Dave.
don't say Pope and do a boner noise in the same sentence.
I
You know what?
didn't-
Just because
There's
that
a Pope Mobile. There's a difference.
a what mobile?
A Pope Mobile.
Okay. Just
Can we
because of
trademark that as the boner sound?
Yeah, absolutely. Nate, you've created a fucking monster on this show. Tanner,
Hashtag whoop.
because you did a boner and made that joke simultaneously, you don't get to leave the people with anything. But Nate, how about you? Is there anything you would like to grace the people with before they switch over to some other not as fucking cool podcast?
Yeah, I'll no.
Really got me excited there. Yeah, all right, and on that note, for the American hero Nate Thurman, the mad scientist Brian Banner, I'm the mayor Jeff Hornsack, and we have been the Bro4 Squad podcast. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. Give us a follow on Twitter at Bro4 Squad. Check out all of our reviews on Letterboxd, Bro Force Squad, 3 words. Type in those same 3 words on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube, and search them. Subscribe to us on all those platforms. Check out everything that we are doing in our squad blog and the Bro4 Squad Hall of Fame on our website, bro4squadnext.com. Till next time, whoop!
Nailed
People
it.
are wondering, how do you lose the boners so fast that you can just get another one that quickly? It's a problem, and it's affected a lot of my relationships.
Ready?
I just went from 6 to midnight. Brian, I don't know if you noticed it on the last Game of Thrones pod. You were coming in like really muted for some reason.
Yeah, I noticed it. I've made some adjustments. You know, you go back, you watch the film, and you know it's the best you can do.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah. So it should be a little better this week.
Okay. What'd you do?
Turned the mic up a little bit.
Man,
I was gonna suggest that actually.
never would have guessed.
Yeah, it was a good.
Gee,
I had a couple
guy.
ideas, yeah, and I was gonna say if we get